Hello and welcome. In today's video, we are going to deal with a short story, The Nightingale and the Rose, written by Oscar Wilde. This lecture is meant for F5 BCom compulsory English students. This is unit number 4 of compulsory English. Before looking into the story, let's gather a little information about the story itself. The story is written by Oscar Wilde. The Nightingale and the Rose is a tragic but beautiful short story about understanding of the idea of love. It is about how a nightingale sacrifices her life for a student who thinks that he can get his love from other girl by offering her a red rose. The story is in the form of a fairy tale in which trees and animals can speak, they can think like human beings. It is also an allegory in which each character is a symbol representing abstract ideas. For example, the nightingale represents true love and sacrifice. The student represents cynicism, that is doubtfulness, and the girl represents materialism. The theme of the story is compassion, sacrifice, love, represented by contrasting characters. So, when we read this story, we have to keep in our mind to compare all these three characters. Let's read and understand the story.
Rose. From her nest in the home oak tree, the nightingale heard him, and she looked out through the leaves and wondered. "No red rose in all my garden," he cried, and his beautiful eyes filled with tears. "Ah, on what little things does happiness depend! I have read all that the wise men have written, and all the secrets of philosophy are mine. Yet for want of a red rose is my life made wretched." "Here at last is a true lover," said the nightingale. "Night after night have I sung of him, though I knew him not. Night after night have I told his story to the stars, and now I see him. His hair is dark as the hyacinth blossom, and his lips are red as the rose of his desire. But passion has made his face like pale ivory, and sorrow has set her seal upon his brow." "The prince gives a ball tomorrow night," murmured the young student, "and my love will be of the company. If I bring her a red rose, she will dance with me till dawn. If I bring her a red rose, I shall hold her in my arms, and she will lean her head upon my shoulder, and her hand will be clasped in mine. But there is no red rose in my garden, so I shall sit lonely, and she will pass me by. She will have no heed of me, and my heart will break." "Here indeed is the true lover," said the nightingale. "What I sing of he suffers. What is joy to me, to him is pain. Surely love is a wonderful thing. It is more precious than emeralds and dearer than fine opals. Pearls and pomegranates cannot buy it, nor is it set forth in the marketplace. It may not be purchased of the merchants, nor can it be weighed out in the balance for gold. The musicians will sit in their gallery," said the young student, "and play upon their stringed instruments, and my love will dance the sound of the harp and the violin. She will dance so lightly that her feet will not touch the floor, and the courtiers in their gay dresses will throng round her. But with me she will not dance, for I have no red rose to give her." And he flung himself down on the grass and buried his face in his hands and wept. "Why is he weeping?" asked a little green lizard, as he ran past him with his tail in the air. "Why indeed?" said a butterfly, who was fluttering about after a sunbeam. "Why indeed?" whispered a daisy to his neighbour in a soft, low voice. "He is weeping for a red rose," said the nightingale. "For a red rose!" they cried. "How very ridiculous!" And the little lizard, who was something of a cynic, laughed outright. But the nightingale understood the secret of the student's sorrow.
Okay, now so far we are described the nightingale we are also described the boy who is learning philosophy and their attitudes for each other. Okay, now it is to be understood that this is a fairy tale in which the trees and animals can speak and they can understand the feelings of human beings, so they are also given the feelings of human being. Okay, so it starts with, like she said, that she would dance with me if I brought her red roses. Okay, so it is the statement given by the student, and then young student was like crying, speaking little loudly, but in all my garden there is no red rose. The problem is that he wanted to have the red rose, but there is no red rose in his garden. From the nest of the holm oak tree. Now remember, oak tree is not found in our area, geographical area, but there was a nest of nightingale where nightingale would be lived. She heard her, sorry, she heard him, and she looked out through the leaves and wondered. Now remember, it is a kind of relationship between the boy and the nightingale, in which nightingale has a very good soft feeling, lovely feeling for this boy. Okay, and then boy has his own temperament, boy has his own mood, boy has his own expectation in life. So what he expects is the red rose in order to dance with that particular girl. Okay, so what he says further, no red rose in all my garden. He cried again. Okay, so to पुन्हा तेच म्हणतोय, and then he further feel his eyes filled with tears, तो रडायला लागला. And further look at that, what he says, on what little things does happiness depend. छोटे छोट्या गोष्टींवर happiness असतं depend. And then he gives the reason for that. Okay, what he says, I have read all that the wise men have written, that is the philosophy written by all the wise people, and all the secrets of philosophy are mine. I know the secrets of philosophy also, yet for want of a red rose is my life made wicked. Okay, माझी लाईफ कशामुळे wretched झालेली आहे? Only because of red rose. So no knowledge comes to serve when you are in love. Knowledge won't help you to understand love. That is what he wants to suggest. And he says that because of, unless there is a material thing, that is the red rose, there would be no love in his life. It in fact is very ironic. Okay, love does not depend on any kind of material things. In fact, love stands for something that is not material. Okay, material, I mean that is not associated with anything. Okay, it is to be felt and not cannot be shown or cannot be converted in the form of things. But here it is explained that because of only a red rose he cannot practice his love. That itself gives us an idea that there is a problem with their love itself. Okay, that is not a true love. Now look at the reply of Nightingale. It's very beautiful. Okay, what she says, here at least here at last is a true lover. Okay, according to Nightingale, if he I mean that boy has a true feelings, he is a true lover. And further he says, night after night I have sung of him, thought I knew him not. Night after night I have told his story to stars, and now I see him. Okay, so it suggests that the Nightingale herself is in love with this boy, but boy does not acknowledge any kind of that sort of relationship or that kind of feelings, at least for this Nightingale. Further, he the Nightingale describes that boy, and further it is said again by the boy. What does boy say? Look at that. The prince gives a ball tomorrow night. Now gives a ball, that is a ball dance. Okay, there will be a hall, and couples in that hall would be dancing around, holding each other's hand in each other hand, and they would dance. Okay, so the ball is a party. Okay, the prince gives a ball tomorrow night, murmured the young student, and my love will be of the company. So he wants to have company with that particular girl, his love. If I bring her a red rose, she will dance with me till dawn. Right from the night to the dawn, to the morning, the the girl is committed to dance with him if only he can bring red rose. And further he describes then how he or she would hold his arms, then how she would lean her head on his shoulder, etc., etc., etc. Okay, that does not matter much. Then here indeed is a true lover, again said by Nightingale. Look at that, how Nightingale is perceiving that particular boy. Remember, we have to look it at from both sides. एका बाजूला नाइटिंगेलला काय वाटतं त्या मुलासाठी जेव्हा तो असं सगळं सांगतो तेव्हा, आणि दुसऱ्या बाजूला मुलाला काय वाटतं जेव्हा नाइटिंगेल तिच्या स्वतःच्या काही भावना जेव्हा सांगायला जाते तेव्हा या मुलाला. ओके, इट्स अ वंडरफुल थिंग दॅट यू कॅन अंडरस्टँड अँड यू कॅन ऑल्सो अपील इट टू युअर सेल्फ समवेअर. ओके, so here indeed is a true lover. It is repeated by the Nightingale. What I sing of he suffers. मी जर काही म्हटलं, गाणं म्हटले तर that create a problem for the young boy. Of course the young boy reads a lot because he reads philosophy, आणि त्याच्यामध्ये जर हिचा आवाज जर त्याला जात असेल तर he would get disturbed, but therefore he says, it is said that he suffers. What is joy to me, to him is the pain. मला ज्या गोष्टीत मजा वाटते गाणं म्हणण्यामध्ये त्याच्यात त्याला त्रास होतो. Surely love is a wonderful thing, and still she feels that she is in love with that particular boy. This is one-sided affair from the side of the Nightingale to the boy, and there is another one-sided affair from the side of boy to that particular girl. So this is how it is, and therefore the Nightingale says surely love is a wonderful thing. And then she talks on in a poetic way, like the precious than emeralds, the dimmer than the opals, and etc., etc., etc. Okay, that is not of our importance. We'll move further and talk about the dialogues. And then again the boy imagines the musicians will sit in the gallery, said the young student, and play upon their strings instrument, and my love will dance to the sounds of harp and the violin. She will dance so lightly that her feet will not touch the floor, etc., etc., etc. Okay, he is imagining now the situation when that particular girl is dancing, but what happens? He says that I have no red rose to give her, and he flung himself down in the grass and buried his face in his hand and wept. Okay, but it is only possible for him to dance with her if he carries the red rose. But the fact, or the matter of the fact, is that he does not have red rose. Therefore he started crying now. Look at that. He buried his face in his hand and wept. रडायला सुरुवात केली त्याने. Now what is the reply of the Nightingale? It is not the reply from the Nightingale. There are different sort of animals which are coming and asking why is he weeping or crying. So why is he weeping? Asked little green lizard as he ran past him. Okay, lizard comes, asks the same question, why indeed, asked the butterfly, why indeed, asked daisy, and finally the Nightingale gives the answer that he is weeping for a red rose. Now all these dialogues by Nightingale has to be considered very seriously. Okay, या कोणाच्याही इतरांच्या स्पीचपेक्षा नाइटिंगेल जे बोलते हे खूप महत्त्वाचं आहे आपल्यासाठी. सो देअरफॉर he is weeping for a red rose. Nightingale explains to all her friends like daisy, butterfly, and lizard, etc., etc. Now these all of other animals do make fun of the boy. For red rose they cried, how very ridiculous. No, it is ridiculous that the boy is crying for a red rose. No, he should. And look at the explanation. The lizard, who was something of cynic, laughed outright. Cynic is doubtful. No, a person who doubts any kind of relationship, who believes that material is everything and there is nothing called as a love. Okay, that kind of person is called as cynic, and lizard is that kind of cynic who believes that there is nothing called as love, and this boy is a stupid person who is crying for that particular girl. At one point in the story he also proves to be correct. Okay, so that is it. In opposition to these, या सगळ्यांच्या oppositionला, there is a reply from the Nightingale. Look what is said here, very very important. Okay, what is said? But the Nightingale understood the secret of the student's sorrow. Okay, only one who has loved someone who can understand the feelings of the love. So therefore the Nightingale could understand the student's sorrow. And further she says, she sat silent in the oak tree, तिथे तिच्या नेस्टमध्ये ती सायलेंटली बसली, and thought about the mystery of love. And she was just talking about why must this boy is weeping and what is the mystery of love. And then she has got something. Okay, up to this point we have read. Now pay your attention to the actions those have taken place here.
And she sat silent in the oak tree and thought about the mystery of love. Suddenly she spread her brown wings for flight and soared into the air. She passed through the grove like a shadow, and like a shadow she sailed across the garden.